Any second. And we're live. Excellent.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Drummers Education Connection and the Rick Stojak Drum Solo Show.
Good morning, all.
That was awesome. That was awesome, Rick. That was fantastic. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm Bart Robley. I'm the MC today, and I'm here with two other amazing drummers down in San Diego, Rick Stojak, and out in Tucson, Arizona, Chip Ritter.
Hello, howdy.
How's everybody doing today? And today we are only streaming. If you're looking for us on YouTube, you're looking for us. We're not there today because Jeremy's not here, and because of algorithms and ABCs and LMNOPs, we can only stream to Facebook while Jeremy is not here. So anyway, here we are on deck today. We're going to be talking about the importance of networking and why networking is so important as a musician and as a drummer and a drum teacher and everything like that. But before we get started, we're taking care of a little bit of business here. We want to do what we always do. We thank everybody for watching the show every week. And if you want to contribute to the show in any way, shape, or form, if you can go to Patreon and you can contribute to us there, give us a donation, help us keep the lights on. You can check us out there on Patreon. Chip's going to put a link down in the comments. And then we have a little thing that we do call Good Things. And Good Things is just stuff that's happening with us in our lives that are good things that we have fun doing or that's going on in our life that is either drum related or non-drum related. And a little pick me up. So I'm going to throw it over to Rick, the positive energy hand grenade. Rick, what is going on in your life that is good? Tell me a good thing, man.
Oh, man. I had the best birthday celebration in Florida with my beautiful wife, Julia, and my mom, who's 97 and still kicking butt, who's still sharp as could be, and Julia's sister, Laura, the guitar shredder from Bear McCreary Band and Dark Angel and Death Clock occasionally. So we had a guitar shredder, sister-in-law hanging out for the birthday. And then my mother-in-law, Sandy, who's a brilliant author. And we all were just at the beach and we celebrated a milestone birthday, and it was so relaxing and fun. So
were you guys down in Cocoa Beach area?
Cocoa Beach area, south of that, Indy Atlantic, near the Melbourne area. The place is called the Windermere Inn, and it's a bed and breakfast right on the ocean. It's the best getaway I've ever been to in my life. The people are the greatest. They're like family. They've got the pool right there. You walk to the ocean. There's a gazebo right there. They've got beach chairs and towels and great restaurants. And it's just, you unpack and you're ready to go, just relaxing.
So I love it down there. I love it down there.
So nice down there. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Chip, what about you, buddy? What's going on in your world? What's happening in you?
I had a couple shows recently. I just played Sunday night at the music hall down in at the Gaslight Music Hall in Oro Valley with Lisa Ote and the Desert Divas. And we put on a big old show, and it was a rocking show, and we got a standing ovation at the end of it, and it felt great. It was amazing.
Awesome. On that beautiful green trick drum set.
And Crazy on You and all these classic rock songs.
Oh, I bet that was awesome, man.
It was intimidating. That one part in Stairway to Heaven where it goes dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. Yeah, that was tricky during the sound check when we tried it, and luckily we pulled it off.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
That's cool. And what's going with you?
You know, just doing my thing, enjoying a little bit of time at home right now. Not on the road with the band. Sam is on vacation and Greg is on vacation. So we're just kind of here at the house. But during my downtime with the band, kicking it up a notch or two with teaching and Drummers Education Connection. We got our second annual deck day coming up on Saturday. Going to fly up to flying up to Oakland on Friday. We're going to hang out, the four of us, and we are going to have a great time.
We're going to
And
rip
we're
it
going to
up.
put on a very nice clinic up at Bandworks. I'm wearing the t-shirt today. I need to get a new Bandwork t-shirt while I'm there. Going to be doing that. And, just kind of chilling and working out. We still have the dogs that we're fostering, trying to find a home for these two beautiful animals. They're just, they're great, and enjoying them while they're here, and just kind of, doing my thing, man, teaching and
Right
doing
on,
that.
cool.
So that's what's going on with me.
Nice.
Hey, I want to do a quick shout out to Chris Stanky at Sabian Symbols.
Yeah, baby.
They have donated a crash symbol to one lucky attendee of Deck Day. And
Awesome.
Right on.
Crash symbol. So amazing.
Can I enter to win that? I'm a Sabian guy, and I've got plenty of Sabian symbols, but I can always use another one.
Nope, you can't have that one. Nope,
Why not?
Nope, that one goes to one of the attendees. Sorry,
I'm going to attend it. That's great, man. Thank you to Chris and everybody at Sabian, man. They've been so good to us, not only for this Deck Day, but the last one. And Chris Stanky is salt of the earth. We love those people. So we're gonna have a nice conversation today about the importance of networking. And why it's important to network. Now, Rick, before we came on, you had said in passing, you're like, yeah, my old job, that's what it was. It was all about networking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the first question to you. And this is maybe the most basic dumb question, but maybe people need a little refresher course. What's networking? What the heck does it mean to be a good networker? What's that mean, Rick? Tell me what your thoughts are.
I would say it's building a community that people get together and help one another out to move things forward. So it's building connections with people for the greater good. It's sharing knowledge, and it can apply to business. It can apply to friendships. If you really slice it and dice it, it's like it applies to everything. It's who you know. It's how people find a job. It's how you find a gig. It could be how you find a mate. It's through kind of knowing people, and it can be very thought of as, oh, that's just a sales thing, but it's not. It's trying to help people out. In fact, that's what this show is. This is all about networking. For example, we all met at the NAMM show, and we just all started chatting. And then we're looking for, how can we help each other out? Chip is a master network, because Chip would call you up and say, hey, how you doing? How can I help you out? What's going on? And so
Chip does do, and you know what? My headphones weren't on. Well, they're not on. I'll take my hat off to Chip. Chip is the master at that, because every once in a while I'll get a phone call from Chip, and it's literally that. Hey, Bart, how you doing? What's going on? You need anything? Can I help you? And I love that. I mean, how many of your friends do that? That's so cool. So Chip, let's throw it down to you now. What's networking to you?
Networking to me, oh man, it's collecting contacts and building up your Rolodex. Not that we have Rolodexes anymore, just the names and numbers and the email addresses of people that you've struck a chord with when you met with them, and they might be in the same field or business that you're in. And so you collect those names and numbers, and you share your like-minded interests with them.
Right.
Well
I
said.
think that's very well said. That's very well said. Matter of fact, Jacob Sosa, right there, he just put in hello, gents.
Hey, Jacob Sosa.
And I have to say, we met Jacob from Deck, and Jacob is from my hometown of Colorado, and he works for Rupp Strums. And I've known Bob forever. Bob went back when Before there was a Rupp's Drums, Bob ran it out of his apartment. That's what networking is to me. And Rick, maybe this is a plug. I don't know for myself. We're all writers, and I'm a big blogger. I blog on Medium. I love to blog. I love to write and get my opinion out there. We were talking about that before we got on deck, or before we went live. And I wrote an article not long ago called Building a Network, Not a Following. And it's not that you don't want to build a following. It's not that you don't want to build and have likes on social media and have people view your stuff and everything like that. But I think the community, what you just said, is so important, Rick, because it is a community, right? Right now we've got who is that said good morning from UK? Who said that, Chip?
I don't see that. Wait, David Betts. Yeah.
Okay, David Betts. Okay, from
Larry Betchow.
Yeah, from the UK, we've built this from a network, and just so from networking and starting Drummers Education Connection. And again, I'm echoing exactly what you said, Rick. I don't mean to just copy you, but it really is. It's really about helping one another the way that DEC started. When, for those of you guys who don't know a brief synopsis, Chip calls up when COVID was going down and everything shut down. I'm out for a hike. He's like, I don't know what to do. I want to do something though. And so we get with Rick and we get with Jeremy, and DEC is born. And then we're doing it all these years later, and we've built this community. And I would hope that everybody that is that tunes into the show and watches the show takes something away that helps them, not only in their networking, but in their drumming. That's what this is all about, whether it be, oh, this is how I play that, or this is how I play that, or I never thought about the business this way, and it is a business thing. How's DEC helped you, Chip, with business?
It's helped me a lot with business, just by being around other people that are doing the same kind of thing that I'm doing, and picking their brain and figuring out how Rick helped me get a Yelp page going and all this other stuff, and getting my Google business on. Alan Austinson said, I'd like to add that maintaining contacts network is important as well. And Jacob Sosa says, to clarify, I don't work at Rupp's Drums, but I do a lot of business with them and send my students to shop there. He said, I met Rick and Jeremy in 2020 NAMM through Kevin, which all met us at the Sabian booth. That's networking.
Yes. Kevin.
See, I thought, Jacob, I apologize. I thought you were, I thought you worked at Rupp's and taught there as well for some reason. I apologize. I stand corrected. And Alan and I.
Check this out. Jacob is a great drummer. He's been on the show. He's a great teacher. And he's a fantastic networker. And he met us all. We've maintained contact. And then suddenly he's on the show. And now he's got all these students. And he's sending all these people to Rupp's Drum Shop. Well, he's networking with Rupp's Drum Shop. I'm sure he tells his students, tell him I sent you. So somebody's probably going to come into Rupp's and say, hey, I need a teacher. And they might think, hey, how about Jacob Sosa? He's always sending us people. That's networking. That's exactly it.
And then Jacob will go, hey, I don't work there. I can't teach them.
Maybe Jacob would want to work there one day and they're like, well, then this guy's sending us people. It's helping other people out. And that's how to really, really evolve your network. When you're at NAMM, sometimes you might see a famous drummer and you're standing next to him. And really, everyone is there at NAMM, or these trade shows, Percussive Art Society, to learn and to network. It's basically, how can I evolve my career? Right. And if you stand next to some drummer you idolize and you tell them, oh, you're the greatest drummer ever, I followed your music, that's nice. That's nice. I'm sure they appreciate it. But if they seem standoffish, it's not because they're not interested. It's that they're there for business.
Right.
If you come up to them and say, offer them something, honestly, sincerely, like, I have a drum studio or drum teaching studio. I was thinking of would you be interested in coming in and teaching? That's some networking. Then now you can make a rapport with the person.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it's always about offering and how can you help the other person out without trying to be like, oh, hook me up, man, hook me up. That's what everyone's thinking, and instead of how can I help you? So if you help other people and you just do that sincerely, open-hearted, then good things will come your way.
Well, and man sharpens man like steel sharpens steel. I mean, that's in the big book itself, the Bible, and that's one of the ones that Dom Famularo used to say all the time. Man sharpens man like steel sharpens steel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you do network together, you're lifting one another up. It's not a self-serving thing. It's not okay, I'll do this for you, so then in turn you'll do that for me. That's not what it's about. It is about lifting up. And if you think about it, the people that we've had, some of the, we talk about drum heroes and we all have our heroes, but I think what's really cool is some of these people that were and still are our heroes that we really look up to, they've been on the show and they're part of the network, and I think that's the one thing that's fantastic about what we're doing, because through having those people on the show, it helps educate the people that watch the show. I got a phone call from Chris Brady and had a, just a last minute, hey, can you, do you want to go to Todd Zuckerman's master class? I'm like, yeah, I do. And he gave me a ticket. I went down there. The master class was outstanding. And then through that, it networked and Todd came on the show. Same thing with Bissonette. Same thing with Garibaldi. We had Kelly Ray Tubbs, who's not only a fan of the show, but a supporter of the show. She is just an amazing, amazing person. She calls up Jeremy one day. Hey, have you guys had Billy Cobham on yet? No. Would you like to? Yeah. And Billy Cobham came on the show, right? And so I think it's just so cool. And every time I talk to somebody, oh, I saw the show and I saw the one with Billy, or I saw the one with David Garibaldi. They learn from that, So again, that's what the whole networking thing is. Hey, Chip, you were going to say something a minute ago about what Alan said.
Well, Alan said, I'd like to add that maintaining contacts and network is important as well. And Jacob Sosa said, I learned that admiration doesn't translate charity. Just because you like them doesn't mean they owe you something. Either buy their product, ask questions, and see what you can offer them. Hope that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
A lot of sense. And Jacob, you hit it out of the park again.
Yep.
It's questions. If you want to interact with a person, then ask them questions that are sincere. They'll know whether you're sincere, whether you really want to get to know them or not by the questions that you ask.
Yep.
They'll know if you know something about them too by how educated your question is and how relevant it is to their life. So
absolutely,
that is the key. One of the major keys on how to network and connect. It's all about questions. Have you ever had that person you hang out with and they don't ask you a single question and the conversation is just dull?
Yeah.
Exactly. It really is. And networking does, networking is one of those things that you do get to know people and you meet some fascinating people by just having conversations and asking questions. You can I forgot who I saw that said this, but they said something to the effect that, you can have a meal with somebody who is just the biggest, at the best restaurant with the best food, the best matron, the best everything, but the person is just a jerk. And it's a terrible meal. But if you have a hot dog at a hot dog stand with one interesting person. It's one of the best meals you've ever had, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what networking is. I think networking is getting to know one another and asking the poignant questions. And like you said, Rick, it's not always about how you can what you can get from it. It's for self betterment. It's what you can, you know, how you can fulfill your souls together, I guess you will.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I think that is important, that I think is really important to understand, is that successful people, whatever you consider success as, successful people build each other up. They don't, you know, they don't take each other's knees out from underneath them. They build each other up. Successful people do that. And you want to be around successful people. What's that old saying? You are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with the most, you know?
Yeah.
And so you want to hang out with people that are going to network and help build you up and build your dreams. And you're in turn going to do that to them as well.
Yeah.
Rep Fred Fisher said, I recently became friends with you guys and it's totally enriched my life. Oh, so thank you so much, Fred.
Oh man, do I ever agree on that? Fred.
Jacob. Yep. And Jacob said, like me, I went to Bart's Zoom calls and also get Rick's books. To me, they offer value. And then Rick Stojak, I need to finish my collection. I need your 4th book.
All right, Jacob. I'm going to send you a copy, man.
Here we go, Jacob.
DM me, Jacob. I'm going to send you a copy of Volume 4, the triplet book.
You know what? The other day,
right away to songs.
I'm sorry, Rick. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No worries, Bart.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, man. No, you're good.
Oh, well, I was just going to say what Rick, you know, Jacob really is such an incredible dude and such a nice guy. And he came to a Zoom class that I did a while ago. And the other day I was on tour and I get a phone call from Fred Fisher, right? And you know, we were talking about some stuff. He had some stuff going on in his life, and he called me while I'm out I'm in Arizona, and he calls me up to talk to me about some stuff. And the other day I had a question for him. Hey, Fred, I got to pick your brain on something. I just called him up, you know, and it is a very enriching thing. And it's a very, I don't know, it's a very, very, very cool thing. You know, it really is. Like if I know, well, you know what? I mean, Fred has been on the show as well, right? And that I'm sure helped his, you know, talk about his business and get his business going with teaching and everything like that, you know?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think that's what we're, you know, helped him, you know, hey, I'm on deck, go check out my episode, and we can, you know, and stuff like that is important, you know, to the individual that's trying to teach.
That's
yeah.
it.
Another thing about networking is that you got to not be afraid to reach out and connect with somebody. Yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out your hand and say, hi, how's it going? And introduce yourself.
You know, the people are very accessible and more friendly than you might think. So you're right, Chip. Don't be afraid. Matt Starr, who's with Ace Frehley, and he's been on the show. Jeremy did a seminar with him. I think it was on social media and networking. And Matt encouraged Jeremy to just go out, you know, go ahead, call people up. And so Jeremy felt, you know, why not? So he called Butch Norton up. Remember that we just Norton. Butch Norton was the nicest guy ever. We had him on the show. He's Lucinda Williams' drummer. And yeah, so don't be afraid. Hey, I also want to mention with Fred Fisher, Bart, you gave Fred an online lesson on how to teach from the road.
From the road, and then also he was asking some questions about my cameras and stuff in here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned him, and I checked him out on social media, and he has his own podcast, Coffee with Fred.
Yep.
So there it is. That's networking right there. He's a podcast. We're a podcast. We're talking about each other.
Right.
And then so I reached out to Fred, and Fred was interested in my books. So not only did about 12 students buy books from me, but then Fred took pictures of them holding up the book and posted that on social media.
That's
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
It was the coolest thing ever. It really put wind in my sails.
Hey, I wonder, I don't know if Fred bought my book or not. I'm going to have to call Fred and have a talk with him. Dude, Fred, what is going on around here? What did Rick do that I didn't? What did I do wrong, Fred? I'm totally joking. Okay.
It's a method book that he directly could.
I'm joking. I'm joking. So one of the things that that we've kind of touched on is, but I think we got to expand upon this. I think like going to the NAMM show and networking is what the NAMM show was about, and how the whole thing got started. And that can be said of any trade show whatsoever, right?
Right.
That's what trade shows are for. They are for networking. We played out in Arizona at the Wild Horse Pass, and I'm walking through the Wild Horse Pass, and everywhere you go, there are posters and pictures of Cat tractors, like the bulldozer and the loaders and stuff. And then we walk outside and there's all these bulldozers and loaders outside. I'm like, what is the hotel like? Well, they just had a Cat convention, right? Cat had this big sales convention there. So they had and it just goes to show you that doesn't matter what you do in life or what you're into, they have conventions for it, right? Sales conventions and sales meetings. Okay. Right. I think also, you kind of, at least this is the way it is for me. When you're at NAMM, you see the guys that are, hey man, there's my favorite drummer and there's my other favorite drummer. And you see all these guys. If you ever find yourself in that position, and sometimes it can be hard not to, fanboy out. Don't freak out. Just talk to them. They're humans, they're people, and they probably want to get to know you as bad as you want to get to know, I mean, not as bad as you want to get to know them, but they want to get to know you too. If you're sincere, like Rick said, if you're sincere and, hey, Joe, the drummer, I really like your playing and this and that, and you just strike up a conversation, they're going to enjoy that a lot more. And your likelihood of networking with them and having them on your podcast or having them on your show or whatever, come into your studio and give lessons, whatever it is that, is more likely than if you freak out. Would you guys agree with that? Have you ever had a situation like that?
Yes, absolutely. I was in the Peisty booth one year at NAMM, and Nico McBrain looked at me and he pointed back behind me and said, would you mind, Chip, would you mind grabbing me by that beer? I was like, yeah, sure. And I turned around and I handed it back to him, and I was like, Nico McBrain knows my name. Because he read it off my badge. It was, never mind. I thought it was
I caught it. Larry said he didn't see me at the Hello Kitty convention. You know what? I was there. I only went on Sunday. I don't even know what to say to that. That's beautiful. Hey, you know what? I bought a friend of mine one time. He's a guitar player, and I was at Sam Ash, and there was a Hello Kitty guitar. And this guy's like the metal dude from hell, right? And he had all these guitars, and there was this pink Hello Kitty guitar. And I'm like, I'm buying that for him. I don't think he ever plays. It's $100 guitar. It's the best $100 I ever spent. Anyway, enough of that. Back to your regular schedule program. Hello Kitty convention. That's beautiful. You know what? If there was a Hello Kitty convention, I would be there. Hey, but this goes to, okay, what other kind of conventions have you guys gone to? Because I'm going to give myself a plug here. Rick, do you have any other conventions you go to other than drum stuff? Have you ever been involved with that? Anything like that?
Yes. When I first moved to California from Connecticut, I had a customer sales job. at a company called Underwater Kinetics. They made scuba diving accessories because I was playing original music back then. And there was no money, so I needed a day job. I didn't come out to California as I'm going to be a cover band guy. I was trying to make my band work, and I needed money to support it. So that's a whole nother episode. We've talked about that kind of stuff, but I had to have a day job, right? And so, so I went, got flown to Orlando with the Underwater Kinetics crew, and went to a convention. Diving equipment manufacturers of America, and
Really?
like DEMA. It's been a lot of years. So yeah, it was all scuba diving shops and scuba diving enthusiasts and underwater photographers, and it was the coolest thing ever. I was so intimidated because I'm just like a drummer. What am I doing in this scuba diving world? And
Yeah, but you probably learned something. That's cool. That's really cool.
And I think it was I learned how to communicate, and that's what it's all about, sharpening my communication skills through my corporate world helped me with my drumming world drastically. My mom always said, man, it's a good thing you had those day jobs, because that's how you connect to your students.
Totally.
That's how you'll connect to your band. So
excellent.
Yeah. So
Chip, what about you? Have you had any other convention things that you've been involved with?
I've been to different conventions for AA people that don't drink or use drugs, and had a bunch of fun meeting people from different parts of the country with like-minded interests. You know what I mean? And it advanced my scope of the world. It made the world a little bit smaller and more connected.
I like that. Made the world a little bit smaller and more connected. I like that.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to use this as a plug for one of my articles on Medium. I used to play in a band that backed all of the Star Trek actors. I think I've talked about that before on the show. It's put together through Paramount Pictures.
Cool.
And we backed all the Star Trek actors. And actually, we backed up it was Star Cons. So we went to all these Star Trek conventions, or Star Cons, which were Star Wars and everything, anything sci-fi. And we either did one of two things. We either walked the actors on and off stage. Please welcome Leonard Nimoy. Bra, da, da, bra, 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 bra. And we play the theme song, right? And then throughout the show, we would play really eclectic music, and it was really strange stuff. And then the headliner of the show, if you will, was this guy, Tim Russ. He played Tuvok on Star Trek Voyager. And when I was in the band, exactly, he was a Vulcan. He was, when I was in the band, he had 2 records out, and they were really good. And we backed him up and played his albums. And it was kind of like this rock concert thing. And it was a lot of fun, and it was very eye-opening because, and what I learned from that was what I was joking about a minute ago when I said, whatever you're into, there's a convention for it. But guys, let's face it, if you're into Hello Kitty, or if you collect thimbles, you know that there's a thimble convention out there, right? I mean, people, whatever you're into, they have conventions. And those conventions are specifically for networking, right?
Yeah.
Specifically for networking. So my advice to you, go to Medium, look up Bart Robley, and read my article called "To Boldly Go Where No Drummer Has Gone Before." And it is a story of something that recently happened to me while on tour with the Sam Morrison Band, with William Shatner. Okay. And if you go and you read the story, you'll get it. And it's fun. So anyway, so back to networking. Let's put this out there. I've talked about this in my old podcast. We've talked about this on this show. One of the things that we all get questions about a lot from our students, I know I do, especially the ones that are a little bit further along in their careers, and they want to talk about getting their name out there with companies, and they want to talk about endorsements. To me, an endorsement is the ultimate networking tool. It is the thing that you use to network yourself as a drummer. Chip, you are so good at this.
What?
With it when it comes to your endorsements and networking, talk us through how you network with an endorsement. How do you get the endorsement? What is the endorsement network connection? Let's hear it from you.
The endorsement network connection, man, I'm not sure I'm very qualified for that. I think that showing up and playing your best and doing your best in every area is going to help you with anything, especially when it comes to endorsements. But with endorsements, it's like you love what you play, and you talked about what you play with the people that make the product, and then they end up being on the same page with you and saying, "Hey, I think this is a good relationship." The connection from that for me was crazy. I mean, there's a lot of different places that I went in my life because of the endorsements and the connections that the companies had with other people that were related to drum clinics. So it kind of all went full circle for me in that way. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Rick, what about you? Talk to us about endorsements and networking and how that works for you, because you're incredible at that too.
Thanks, Bart. Well, I could start off with my how I became a Sabian artist. I became a Sabian artist by playing Sabian cymbals already.
Yep.
So I invested in myself. I decided that those were my cymbals, that was my sound. I like the diversity of the company. I like the range of cymbals that they had from entry level up to really, really high end stuff. And so I thought, well, in my teaching studio, why don't I fill this room with Sabian cymbals? And it's my collection. That's what I like to collect, is cymbals and drums. That's my passion. I'm a car guy. So I filled this room with Sabian cymbals. Students come in, and of course, they're going to need to ask me what to buy. And I'm going to say, well, this is what I like. And then they can actually play it. They can actually hear these sounds, not in a store environment where there's distractions and every other person playing. And they can actually dive in and feel it and play it and decide. And then I'll help them decide what might be right for them. And then they can go buy it wherever they want to go buy it. So basically, what I was doing is networking with Sabian, not even knowing it. That's really what I was doing. So my dear friend Zorro, who I studied with, said, you might want to talk to Chris at Sabian. So really, I called Sabian up, and I didn't ask for an endorsement. What I asked for was catalogs and stickers and swag to give to my students. I didn't ask them for anything. I provided them with, I am a promoting person for you. I'm a salesman for you. I'm a representative, and you don't have to do anything, and you got me representing you.
Yep.
And so and then I would host a drum clinic. I'm like, hey, I got Zorro coming in. I've got Daniel Glass coming in. And they're like getting to know me. And I'm like, wow, this guy is a promotion machine. I'm like, damn right, I'm a promotion machine. And then they said, why don't we just become an artist? I'm like, oh, okay, cool idea. I mean, nothing. If you're asking, it ain't happening, man.
Yeah.
I
agree. I think you have to be a spokesperson for the company, and you have to love what you play. You really, really, really do. You really do. My endorsements all came about kind of the same way, whether it be through students or touring with the band. And one of the things that anybody out there that has an endorsement, or you're seeking an endorsement, I'm gonna throw this in there. I've been really fortunate that I get to tour with Sam a lot, and a lot of the gigs that I do, um, I I take my gear. My gear goes with me. But then whenever we fly, like 100% of the time when we fly, my gear doesn't go with me. And in recent years, like in the last 5 years, I used to travel with a bag of cymbals, and I put a case under the plane that had my bass drum pedal, and it just was so much to make it happen. And I just said, you know what? No more. When I get on a plane, I'm taking a bag of sticks and a drum kit. That's what I bring to a fly gig. And so I tell my endorsers, look, there's going to be times where you're going to see pictures of me and I'm not playing your gear. And that's because it's a backline thing, or I'm on, you know, I'm on tour and I'm not traveling with my stuff. That doesn't mean that I'm not using your gear. I'm using it 98% of the time. So I think within that relationship of networking, you have to have that conversation too. So, and I know that's kind of maybe an offshoot of the subject, but not really, because you're going to find yourself in a situation this weekend. We're having deck day, and we're going up there, and we're going to be playing on Jeremy's drums, and I'm going to be playing his cymbals, which are Sabian, but he represents a different drum company than I do. And so I'm not going to be playing Gretsch drums. I'm going to be playing his drums. And when those pictures are out there, you kind of want your companies to know that, hey, I'm still a representative. I just, this is the situation here. And I think that's important. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's a big deal. It's important to clarify whose team you're on and to stay loyal to the team. It doesn't help anybody for them to put marketing and everything out there with their product and you, and then for you to be behind somebody else's kit. That's like the adverse, the anti endorsement. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's absolutely important to be able to understand that everybody knows what the deal is and that exceptions must happen. And that's the way to go about it, is by being honest and being clear with them.
Right. And
oh, go ahead.
No, Rick, you said something about
these companies can supply, they can, like when Gene goes to certain cities, Pearl will supply a kit for him. He's a Pearl endorsement artist, my brother-in-law, Gene Hoagland. So, if he's out with a certain band, Pearl might just show up and provide a Pearl kit for him. So that can happen too. And that is part of the support that some of the big major companies can provide to their endorsement artists. So the few times, there have been times where I've had pictures taken and I was playing some gear that I normally wouldn't because the circumstances just didn't allow it. Like sharing a backline kit that someone provides and there's some heads on it that aren't Aquarian. I tend to try to avoid putting out the photos with the other stuff. And there always is Photoshop too, if you need be too.
Yeah,
I got my endorsement with Agner drumsticks after I did the Drumeo thing, and I had Vic Firth on the Drumeo thing, and all the pictures that they came back, we went and photoshopped the logos out of respect for my new endorsement.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Jacob Sosa asked Bart, how do your companies respond when you're not playing the gear that's theirs?
I think they understand. And I've had this conversation with 3 of my A&R reps. And to be honest with you, the big thing is when you can play our gear, if it's a backline thing, please play it. That's always really been the answer. And I think most of the A&R reps understand that if you're out there and you're touring in a band and you're doing fly dates, they understand. I mean, they get it. They want their artists out there doing that. They want their artists out there playing in front of crowds. I mean, Rick, you said something, and there was a thing in the chat that, we're offering value to the endorsement, by teachers, and that cannot be underestimated. The value as a performer is equally as important. And again, if I'm flying to Florida to play 3 shows, the chances of the backline company getting me exactly what I use is pretty slim. I always request it. And I'm using Florida as an example. Anywhere I go, that's just because you were just there. Anywhere I go, I always request it. That doesn't mean I'm going to get what it is that I want. So I do think they understand, and I've never had like an issue where it was a thing. Like it's never been brought up, unless honestly, if I brought it up. And again, I'm not going to say anybody's name, but one of the companies that we all work with, I'm really tight with the A&R guy. Like we're really tight and really good friends. And he's like, look, I get it. We understand, it's not even an issue. It's not an issue.
Alan,
but that's not to say that it's okay to not request it.
Alan Alcentin said, is it written in most endorsements that they're exclusive for the artist? Do you need to put in words in the contract as to when you get endorsed?
No, I don't. I mean, I never have. I've had the conversation though. And the way I approach it, Alan.
David Betts says, yeah.
Go ahead, Chip. What does he say?
No, I was
Chip,
just
what
going
did
to
he
go
say?
on to the next one. David Betts said, good point, Bart. I'm friends with David Betts, drummer from the band Honeymoon Suite. He was chatting with him a while ago online. We swapped a few pics, etc. And one of his friends questioned his use of a different symbol when it was actually the picture of him he was looking at, the different drummer.
Oh,
people
yeah.
His main point was people notice that stuff.
Oh, they really do. They do. I have some pictures out there of me playing other kits, and people ask me about them, and I just tell them, what the deal was. To answer the one question, I think it was Alan. No, I don't have anything written into the contract. You just kind of have that conversation. Hey, from time to time I get flown in, and I can't play your gear, because I play whatever the backline company provides. Most backline companies will usually have, 2 or 3 different kits. They'll have usually 5 or 6 different snare drums to choose from. And they have like the most popular snare drums that are out there on the market, different, wood and metal drums. So you have choice of, here's a couple of maple drums, here's some stainless steel drums and a brass drum, and you can pick from those. And then different cymbals, and man, I tell you, I did a gig just a couple nights ago, about a month ago in Texas, and they didn't have Sabian cymbals, and man, I was playing another brand of cymbals, and I could have gone out in the alley and got the lids off the trash cans, and they would have sounded better. And I'm not knocking any other cymbal company. It's just you get used to what you get used to. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm used to yakking away.
Question: most endorsement deals have a contract that do address one way or another that we're attempting to use their product all the time.
Yeah,
it is addressed. It's not just oh yeah, go ahead, use the stuff. It is addressed. And
it is
a hardcore goal to try to emphasize that product in all of your marketing. So
and one of the things that and this will go out to all the teachers out there. One of the things that I do, and I got this actually from Mike Johnson. This is a trick that he does. If one of my students, which has just happened a few months ago, she bought a brand new beautiful Gretsch kit, and I said, do me a favor and get me a copy of your receipt, and I want you to black out anything that's, credit card numbers, any pertinent information, but I want your name and this and that, so I can send that to my A&R person. And so that they know that you're doing your job. Also, not just representing their gear, but helping to sell their gear, and I do that all the time with my students. If they make a big purchase, if they buy, a set of cymbals, or they buy a drum set, or, hey, I got this brand new set of Sabian hats and it set me back, X amount of dollars for a Sabian ride. Hey, do me a favor. Can you make me a copy of that so I can send it to my A&R guy so he knows, or they know, that I'm doing my job representing their company? Your companies will like that. And that is a great networking tool. It really is.
I need
It
to do
really.
that more, Bart. That's a great idea. I don't do that enough.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you're actually, talking about the comment that was said a little while ago, providing value to the company, because you now are definitely like, hey, look, this I sold X amount of drum sets, or I sold, in this year's time, I had 4 students buy this many drum sets, or I had 5 students buy a ride set, whatever it is, they see that you're doing it, and it keeps your relationship with your artist relations person going. They're always aware of you. They know you're out there and whatnot. So
You're on the radar.
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Before we finish up, I'd like to address something for my students and teachers out there as well. I think the bottom line is we're all trying to get gigs, and we're all trying to get higher level gigs and bigger money gigs. For most of us, that's the goal. And so one of the best ways to get those gigs is play as many shows as you possibly can. And that's where the networking comes in, man. I have my student, Rebecca Sykes, in San Diego. We say she's plays from punk to funk. She's gigging like a maniac, man.
Punk
She's
to funk.
all styles. Now she just got her first corporate gig that paid like, as much as 10 original gigs would be, because she's just playing with all of these different people, and she's taking on as many gigs as she possibly can. It's sharpening up her skills. She is networking like crazy. And the other thing is that it's social media. We have to address that. Social media is definitely part of the factor of this world of networking. And how does Rebecca do it? I see her do this all the time. She looks at people's posts and she makes comments and she shares the comments. That's the whole thing. If you want to network with someone, don't just hit like. You're not really networking too hardcore if you just hit a like. I mean, maybe they're like, oh, that person's out there. But a like is very surfacey, but a comment is better. And then a share with a comment, now that's starting to build your network. So social media is there and it definitely helps out. But don't think that that's the only way to communicate. I think that's the downfall of the social media, is that people are just on a computer, and you've got to go out there and meet people and talk to them and get to know them. So
yeah,
it's that fine art of communication in person is getting, it's not what it used to be. A lot of people don't even want to call up about drum lessons. They want to just send a text without even what their name is.
Yeah.
Rather than here's my story, and try to really, really call and communicate. So, it's not rude to pick up the phone and talk to people. I think that a lot of people are beginning to perceive that, wow, why am I getting a call? And it's okay to call people.
I had a friend of mine one time that told me, he goes, yeah, I text so much that like when somebody calls me or my phone rings, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like,
right.
Okay. Right. Yeah. And I want to throw something else into what you're talking about, Rick.
Yeah.
I realize that, I don't want to just put rose colored glasses on everything. And I understand that social media, a lot of times it can have a negative connotation and have negative things happen. And you mentioned Matt Starr a while ago, and I saw him talk about this, and you're always going to have haters out there. It's just the way it is. And I think that usually when somebody throws something up about a negative comment about something that you put up, it kind of speaks more about them than it does you.
Oh,
That's my opinion.
yeah.
Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and put, you know, put yourself out there to play and stuff like that, you know. And if somebody's like, oh, you know, you played that great and that was great, what kind of bass drum is that you use? And oh man, those heads sound great, the cymbals are great. And then there'll be one guy's, hey, I noticed when you went into the verse that you rushed a little bit. Well, you're just being a dick, okay? That guy's, you know, and you don't need to engage that, you know. I mean, if somebody needs to say something like that and you get a hater, you know what, fine. If you know what, you're, let them hate away. That's how they want to live their life. And I'm sure you're not the only person, you know, that they do that to. They, you know, there's a lot of people that sit there on social media and just like, you know, like a piranha waiting for a little bit of blood to fall in the water, and they're going to pounce on it because they don't have a friggin' life. And I'm on my soapbox here a little bit, but you know, just be, and the reason I say it is because I see these things where people just get in these arguments on, and it's just stupid, you know. And that, again, that's an opinion. Maybe I'm going down that path by talking about that even, but don't worry about haters. That's their way of networking, and it's probably all negative. So thoughts on that, Rick? Please bail me out here.
Well, I think insecure people, will lash out at others, and it's this childish behavior that is very adolescent. You think it might be a teenager, but actually it's an adult, and so
yeah.
I think that internet bullying thing is deplorable, and it's not like, oh, I'm just trying to help you out, man, you know. So that's just insecurity, and you just have to ignore it when it happens, and just reach out to everybody, and most people want to connect in a positive way.
I agree. And you know what, man, I think that Rick, what you just said, a lot of insecure people will lash out a lot. And I think that, like, if you use Deck as an example here, okay, we try, like, behind the scenes, you know, we'll have meetings and we'll talk about stuff. And when we very first put this thing together, we said, okay, we're going to do this, and this, and we're not going to do this, and this. But whenever we do something that's kind of a new area, or we're going to go down another road, or try a new thing with Deck, we have a little business meeting about it. And we don't always agree, but never once have we gotten in. It's always been like, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. Like, I had this one idea once, and Jeremy was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. And then Rick came in, he's like, no, that's a bad idea because A, B, C, and D. And we were both like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
and it's not a matter of always having to agree with somebody. That's what networking is about. You network with other people because guess what? You might be great over here, but you got a really bad blind side over here. And this guy's going to see that blind side and help you, right? So there's a big difference between haters and somebody just pointing out a blind side. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I got a couple videos out there of me juggling drumsticks with millions and millions of views. And, you know, the one that they did on the Vic First site had all these, just this negative stream of comments, just this negative barrage of everything. And, you know, it's like, you can't focus on that. That's not the goal. The goal is to focus on what you do. You do what you love what you do, and you do it because you love it. So you don't let somebody else come in and take that away from you. So I just stopped reading them. I just stopped engaging, and I just scroll right past. And I look at the ones that are there that say, hey, what an awesome job. Hey, that was cool. Do it again. You know, that stuff.
Yeah. Great way to go, Chip. All those adolescents, no matter what age they are, who had negative comments are jealous of Chip Ritter.
Hey, I'm jealous of Chip Ritter, but I'm not gonna.
Hey, you got nothing to be jealous about, man.
My buddy Chip Ritter. The best part about Chip Ritter? Chip Ritter is my friend, and I love
Yes.
that. I love that.
That's
Okay,
the-
guys.
And it sums it up because this is all about building friends and it's fun. And
It is.
you know what? You want to build your career, take some lessons. You know how many people have come in here for lessons who I've given gigs to?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Now that's networking, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. That's the way you do it, man. That's the way to. And I'll say this, and this is straight from a Dom Fimulero thing, and then we got to get out of here because we're a little bit over an hour. But I remember Dom talking about when somebody came to him and they were, you got to network with other drum teachers, right? When you have, he was talking about how somebody came to him and they wanted to learn really great double bass chops and they were really into playing heavy metal and they wanted to be a metal drummer. And he's like, oh, okay, well, here, after your lesson, here's Bobby Rondinelli's card. He's just, 2 towns over. You need to go take lessons with Bobby Rondinelli. So this guy goes and he takes some lessons with Bobby Rondinelli. He calls up Dom. He's like, you referred a student to me? And he goes, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? You're a great metal drummer. Dude, that's awesome. Well, look, that's what networking is. I've referred other drum teachers. Rick has referred a student to me who's still with me over a year and a half ago. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. That is networking at its finest. Okay.
Yeah.
We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We hope today's networking episode helped you network a little bit better. Rick Stojak, who is coming on the show next week? Tell him.
Oh, man. We've got Gordy Knudsen, who is with the Steve Miller Band for years and years and years. He is a major, major cat, an iconic.
So, Steve Miller Band. How's that groove go? Is that it? Take the money and run. Right off the top of my head, I was like, where are the splashes at? I couldn't remember. Was that it? I just made a fool out of myself for nothing. I couldn't remember it. Yeah, dude, take the money and run. Steve Miller Band. This is going to be huge. Remind me not to do that next week. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't care if everybody else makes fun of me.
And
then next Saturday.
Right, we're all going to be up in San Francisco.
This coming Saturday.
Yeah.
Not too late to join us and network. And if you can't make it, host the Drummers Education Connection in your town. We'll come to your town and tear it up and do a clinic at your store or your studio.
And Rick just said to any of you drum teachers out there watching this, we are expanding like crazy with DEC. We've got some amazing drummers coming on. And our whole thing is about education. This is our second DEC day. If you have a drum studio, if you own a music store, if you have a studio in your garage and you would like us to come and host a clinic, masterclass, something like that in your place, you let us know. Chip Ritter will come and you will win the dream date with Chip Ritter and we'll come and do a clinic at your place. That's what we're hoping to do.
Oh,
that's what we're hoping to do. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
We're out of here. Hey, you know what? I just played it. You probably play it better. I couldn't even remember it. Take the money and run. Can you do it?
I don't know.